From Mason City to your hometown, we've got the information you need. Turn us on at home, work, and in the car. AM 1300 KGLO.
.832 here at your hometown news station, AM 1300 KGLO, on KGLOAM.com, on our KGLO News Facebook page as well. As it's time, another edition of Pet of the Week. Sybil Soukup joins us. Humane Society of North Iowa. Good morning.
Well, good morning. It's nice and cool out right now.
Right now it is.
It's going to change.
It will.
It's going to be sultry and hot. Swarmy and hot.
Swarmy?
Swampy.
Oh, swampy.
I'm thinking of every adjective I can think of.
Okay, question for you. When it's hot, what things should we remember with pets?
I'm so glad you asked. So for your own pets,
yes,
keep them inside or bring them inside if they normally are outside, and keep them cool, keep them in the house, give them plenty of fresh water. If they are pets that just required to be outside or like to be outside, make sure they have access to fresh water all day long and shade. Make sure they have a cool, shady place to stay. If your pet is panting a lot or overheating, look for those signs. Pets don't sweat, so they overheat easily. Do not submerge them in cold water. Wrap them with cold towels. Call your veterinarian. I kind of skipped a part here. If you have a dog and you need to take them out for exercise or potty breaks, exercise early in the morning, late at night, not in the middle of the day where it's super, super hot. Make potty breaks short. When you're out walking, in the heat of the day or for potty breaks, in the concrete asphalt sidewalks are going to be very hot, and their little pads will get burnt, are very warm. So stay on the grass if you can. Again, short periods of time outside today on days like today. Even at the shelter, we will limit outside walks this afternoon and actually probably call them off at a certain point when it gets to be too hot. If you suspect your pet of being overheating, like I said, cold towels, compress on your dogs, cats, just give them a cool place. They're probably going to allow you to do a cold compress, but call your veterinarian and ask for advice, if you suspect serious issues. What to do if you see another animal in trouble? This is the question we get asked the most. Okay. I always hear people say, if I go to the store on a day where it's 100 degrees and somebody has their dog in their truck and I think it's suffering, I'm going to break the window in and rescue it. I've yet to see that happen in this town, which is good. I mean, that's fine. Because technically it is destruction of someone's property and that could put you in trouble with the law. So the first and foremost thing, if you see an animal in a vehicle on a day like today when it's hot out, go to that vehicle and make sure it's not running. And sometimes you have to really pay attention because some vehicles, like electric vehicles, or you can't hear a muffler running, you have to make sure. So always check to make sure. Maybe put your hand on the window to see if it feels cool on there. But notice that. Secondly, take a visual of the animal that's in there, of the dog, and see what they look like. Are they panting? Are they just chilling out on the seat? Do they look like they are in a state of distress? If so, call the police department in your community. In Mason City, there's an animal control department that they will dispatch an animal control officer. In other communities, they will dispatch a police officer, and they will ascertain the situation. They have the authority to break open a window if need be, but they will try to locate an owner first, but they will break open a window if need be and rescue that animal. And we get a few calls a year about this, and we refer people to animal control. We've had dogs brought out to the shelter that were removed from vehicles by animal control in Mason City. So it does happen, and they do follow through, and animals have been saved because of it.
On a day like today, if you're the pet owner and you are thinking about putting that pet in your vehicle, people think, yeah, exactly what I was, I agree with you on that right there. But, I'm sure some people think, I'll just crack the window. That doesn't help, does it?
So today, when I get back to the shelter, I'm going to share a post that I made probably a decade ago because it's so relevant still. So about a decade ago, we took a coworker's car and parked it in the front lot, put some stuffed animals in it, teddy bears and stuff. And then an oven thermometer. I started first with just one of those outdoor thermometers that, you you hang outside, and it got too hot for that to register anymore. So I had to switch to an oven thermometer. We had it in the sun at like 10:30 in the morning on a day like today, where it's going to be triple index heat index, or potential for it to be. And I can't remember all the increments, but my post details the increments. By like 1 in the afternoon, it was like 130 degrees in that car. When we cracked the windows, it dropped it by maybe 2 degrees. So 2 or 3 degrees. So it does not make a difference to crack windows. Being parked in the shade does not make as much of a difference as it would need to be on a day when it's this hot out this afternoon, when the heat index is going to be as high as it is. I do hear reports, unfortunately, every summer of dogs dying because they've been left in a hot car. And it only takes a short amount of time for that to happen, to cause either permanent damage that's irreversible. Brain damage is kind of the most common one, and that can cause, behavioral issues, but also physical issues as well with mobilities. But then, death is obviously the worst case scenario. You certainly don't want that to happen to your pet. So when people say, well, I've got to take my dog with me, they'll be traumatized if I leave them at home. Well, they'll be traumatized if you leave them in a hot car and they die. I mean, you'll be traumatized, So I know a lot of people say, well, I'm just going to run to the store and it'll only be a few minutes. How many times, I know this happens to me, do you say, I'm just going to run in the store for a loaf of bread? Well, then you think of another thing you need. Well, then you run into someone Then someone else that knows you stops and talks to you. And, 5 minutes turns into 15. 15 turns into 25. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, shoot, Fido's in the car. I got to go. And, you don't want that to happen on a day like today. So leave your dog at home. I beg of you, please.
All right. Well, I think we've got that message across to everybody. So let's talk about pet of the week.
So on a day like today, when it's this hot, when it's going to be this hot, we limit walks in the afternoon, and at some point we'll just stop walks altogether outside. But we have a lot of indoor spaces at the shelter where you can take one of our dogs into one of those spaces to hang out with them. And on a day like today, especially when they're not getting outside to go for those walks, today we need more volunteers more than usual to come out and exercise with them. In particular, I want to talk about a specific dog named Moira. Few of my staff have a hard time saying that word. Moira.
Can you spell it? Oh, you're
Can
cheating.
You use it in a sentence?
You're cheating. You're
Her
looking
name
at
is
your phone.
Moira. Moira. It's
See, I would have thought it would have been with an H on the end. If I would have had to guess.
Well, I'm probably over speaking it. Enunciating it. I'm over enunciating it. But Moira came in with another dog named Alexis, and they were strays, pit bull puppies, and very cute, so adorable. And they were named after the mother-daughter combo of a popular sitcom called Beep Creek. And Moira was played by a character named Catherine O'Hara.
Yep.
And she passed around the time
Gotcha.
So these two dogs were named after the characters from that show. Yeah. So they were my event dogs. Like I took, especially Alexis, she was really outgoing. Moira is a little bit more shy and needs a little bit more time to warm up to new people. But Alexis was my little event dog. I took her everywhere. She was in BandFest. Moira was in BandFest, the parade. But just wonderful social little dogs. And they made friends with other dogs in the shelter. There was another pair of puppies, Serena and Venus, that they became friends with. And the four of them were just kind of like the it girls of the shelter. All of them have been adopted now, except for Moira. Oh. I know. And so she's by herself now at the shelter. And she is just so sweet. If you look at her profile picture, she is a black and white pit bull. She has this beautiful like stripe of white down the front of her face. And her profile picture, she has her tongue out, on one of her pictures, like she's blowing a raspberry. And it's so cute and funny. But she is just an absolute sweetheart. Like I said, she needs a little bit of extra time to get to know you. She's a little bit shyer. Alexis was kind of her front girl, like, hey, let's meet, let's hang out. And now that Alexis is gone, Moira's like, oh, now I got to meet people on my own, So it takes her a little bit of extra time, but she is a really sweet girl. And I really want her to find a home of her own too. But she is on our website, and it's Moira, Moira. And you can look her up on our website and see her profile on there and read about her and check out those adorable pictures that we have of her on there. Or you can come out to the shelter and see her in person. We're open Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 4, Saturdays, 10 till 2. And like I said, days like today and probably tomorrow, we'll be limiting walks. But Moira can go into our multi-purpose room where we have lots of toys in there, and you can play with her in there, cuddle and hang out with her in there. And we have lots of other dogs that would want to do the same.
And what's the website again?
hsni.org. That's HSNI as in Humane Society North Iowa.org.
All right. Anything else before we let you go?
Just everybody be safe today. Take care of each other, take care of your pets, but look out for yourself as well. Stay hydrated. And, if you see an animal that you think is in danger in a car, in a yard, Iowa law requires that animals have access to food and water and adequate shelter. And on a day like today, adequate shelter would be shade and protection from the elements. So if you see a dog that's been outside for a really long time, not a potty break, but quite some time, say something. Call your local police authority. You can do so anonymously. You will need the address of wherever you're calling the dog in from, to. But you can do so anonymously, but ask them to do a welfare check on an animal that you're concerned about, and they will. And sometimes owners just, maybe they aren't aware of how hot it is. I don't know. But sometimes they just need that reminder or a kick in the pants. But anyway, look out for each other, look out for each other's pets, and take care of your own pets, and, be safe today.
All right. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All righty. Sybil Soukup with the Humane Society of North Iowa here on your hometown news station, AM 1300 KGLO. 8:43, and we